Hello, in this brief video I want to talk about the insurrection of Vitalian against the Emperor Anastasius of Rome, Byzantium. Vitalian, a Thracian by birth, disputes the empire with Anastasius, and having devastated Thrace and Mysia as far as Odysseus and Anahialis, was advancing rapidly upon the imperial city of Constantinople at the head of an innumerable force of Huns. The emperor dispatched Hypatius to encounter this force, and after he had been captured through the treachery of his own troops and liberated at a large ransom, the conduct of the war was entrusted to Cyril, the second commander. The battle which followed was at first indecisive, with several subsequent alterations of success, but notwithstanding the advantage that was on the side of Cyril, the enemy rallied, and he was ultimately routed through the willful desertion of his own soldiers. In consequence, Vitalian captured Cyril and Odysseus, advanced as far as the place called Scythian, laying the whole country waste with fire and sword. Many say nothing nonetheless than the capture of Constantinople itself and the seizure of the Foederati. When he had encountered Scythian, Marinus the Syrian, whom we have mentioned before, is dispatched by the emperor to attack him by sea. The two armaments accordingly encountered, the one having Scythian astern, the other Constantinople. For a time the fleets remained inactive, but after the skirmishing and the discharge of missiles had been followed by a fierce conflict in the place called Vitharia, Vitalian withdraws from the line of battle and takes to flight, with the loss of the greater portion of his fleet. The remainder then fly with such precipitation that the next day not a single enemy was found in the channel or in the neighbourhood of the city. It is said that Vitalian then continued inactive for some time at Anahialis. This took place in 414, and in 520 AD, 2 years after Anastasius had died, Justinian takes over. Justin sends for Vitalian, who was living in Thrace, and who had entertained designs of dethroning Anastasius, to Constantinople, for he dreaded his power, his military experience, his universal renown, and the great desire to possess the sovereignty, and rightly conjecturing that he would not be able to overcome him otherwise than by pretending to be a friend. By way of concealing his guile under the plausible mask, he appoints him commander of one of the bodies called presenters, and as more effectual, persuasive, with a view to a still greater deception, he raises him to the consulship. He, being consul-elect, was assassinated on visiting the palace at an inner door, and thus met with a punishment for his insolence towards the Roman sovereignty. So that was the end of the revolt of Vitalian. 514, and later his death in 520 AD.